Yeah, don't put it too much light on. Yeah, if you put too much, then yeah, just keep it there. So if the back is light, then it will be light. That's good. What does he say? He's putting you through test. Okay. Okay. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اصبروا وصابروا ورابطوا واتقوا الله لعلكم تفلحون. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Before these, I was discussing وتواصوا بالحق. Today, the fourth requirement for the success hereafter is the sabr. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. And there are so many things, sabr, we have to do. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts at the end of Surah Al-Imran, the last ayah, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اصْبِرُوا وَصَابِرُوا وَرَابِطُوا وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. 4 things are put here, O who you believe. Have sabr. And this is like more as an individual. When you have to come to prayer, you have to do sabr. When you have to pay the zakah, you have to have sabr. When you have to deal with your family, you have sabr. So sabr is so many different ways, individual level, we have to do. And whenever you hurry up, where you can do the sabr, you pay the price. And nobody was exempted from it. Whenever, if Musa alayhi salam hurried up, even he was loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he wants to go to Kohe Tur, the mountain of Tur, and wanted to show the love to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he hurried up and left his people behind. And Allah asked, where is your people? He says, don't you see Allah loves you and I want to hurry up and get here? They're coming behind me. Allah said, we have put them in the test. And they start worshiping the calf. If you had come together, they would not have been in that test. In the same way, in the Quran, if we look, Yunus alayhi salam, when he hurried up, Allah's permission had not come to him to do the hijrah, to leave the place yet in Iraq. And he saw the signs of the azab coming, but he left it before the permission, like Rasulullah was waiting for the permission of hijrah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he got it, then he told Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh, it's time for us to leave now. So they cannot even leave without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they cannot hurry. And this is at the prophetic level, the messengerhood level. So when Yunus alayhi salam did, and you know the rest of that, as he got on the boat, and the boat started there was kind of flood in the river, and they decided somebody has run away from its master. And every time they wanted to find out who it is, and they took the names, and Yunus alayhi salam name came in there. So as you know, he jumped out of that boat, and the whale had swallowed him. And the rest of that you know. So sabr is so important. On the other hand, Ayyub alayhi salam, and his patience, his sabr was well known. He lost everything. His family died. His cattle died. He got sick, but he still had sabr with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why sabr of Ayyub is well known. And then in Islam, we are taught. We do 1 month of fasting. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ash-shahru sabr." Ramadan is month of sabr, from the patience. And that we have to do individually. That's between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to do fast. We have to abide by the laws, and that's what we do. But then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Ramadan is ash-shahru sabr. This is the month of sabr. And what is the reward for sabr? He says the Jannah, the paradise. And when you look in the Surah Asr, the last thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, Amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. When you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every which way, and you do the righteous deeds, and then you preach, or advise the others for the haqq, for the truth. And al-haqq murran. Haqq is bitter. It's not the people you are preaching to or telling to, they are going to take, if they are liars or if they don't like it, they are going to just say, well, you are the only one Allah sent it, you are the only one knows about it, and all these things will come to you. And then what you have to do, as-sabr. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first thing here, He puts is, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu isbiru. Have sabr. Yourself. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts at the end of it, لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ, so you can have falah. And as you know, Surah Mu'minun starts, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. The people who are believers, they have succeeded. They have dig that. Falaha means is to dig out of the ground, just the plowing. And when you dig, if you want to get the fruit underneath the ground, then you can dig from there. Or when you put the seeds, falakara, and then you will just get that. Seeds in there, plants in there. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used that. And He says the believers have succeeded. And then He tells the qualities of them. That they do the salah with the khushu. They avoid vain talk, wasteful time talk. We think, well, we have free time. And we can talk whatever we want to. But more you understand, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the least talkative person in Medina and Mecca. He would not talk until it was necessary. Though he will smile, he will sit with people, he will have their company, he will have the suggestions, but he was the least talkative. Imam Abu Hanifa was the same way, the least talkative in Basra. Wherever he was in Iraq, he was the least talkative person. He would not talk until it was necessary. So the people of understanding, they understand that talking itself can create problems for you. Abu Bakr Siddiq, one day he was holding his tongue and beating up it. He said, you get me in the most trouble. Because you say things which I get difficulty with. What you didn't say, you would not get in trouble. What you said, you can get in trouble with. And it is important not to talk useless. And do the sabr. But sometimes we want to jump in the talk and want to say our 2 words, whatever we want to say. And the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also talks about whoever protected 2 things, I grant to him Jannah, paradise. And he was talking to the Muslims, the believers. He said, whoever protected his tongue and private parts, for him is the Jannah. These are the most problematic things for us. So if we want to, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to have Allah's taqwa. In this ayah also, taqwa is mentioned. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. Have Allah's taqwa. And waqa means to protect yourself. وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Save us from the nar, from the fire. And that is important. And that's from where the taqwa comes. We do not want to go against the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We want not to do the things in this world which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited. And we want to do the things which Allah allowed and permitted us to do. And so we can be saved from the ghadab, from the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says, فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ. Proceed, hurry up towards the khair. Khairat is plural of that. Khair means any good thing. Even if you are doing something wrong, stopping from that is considered to be as a sadaqah. If you're doing something wrong and you stop from that, that is a sadaqah. Advising somebody to do good is a sadaqah. We have limited, if we gave the money, that's when we call it sadaqah. Anything you're preaching good to people, that is as a sadaqah. Sadaqah is so many different ways. Anything you do good is sadaqah. And that's, you're trying to do the khair. And this khair has a big term. It has big things in it. And you can imagine all the khair, inviting people towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Doing things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us to do, that's all khair. And the best of the khair is the Quran. Teaching other people, learning from other people. The great ulamas. We talk about Imam Abu Hanifa. He had over 1,000 teachers. I'm not talking about students. He had over 1,000 teachers. If he went to Medina during his time, who was there? Even Imam Malik was 13 years younger than him. He will go to his gathering and sit and learn. He will debate with him. And when they debate with each other, they both will sweat. They will bring all the knowledge, all they had understood to each other with that. It was so important for them to be gathered and learning from each other. It was not they thought, well, I'm better, I'm superior, I learned more, I am from so-and-so madrasa or something. And Imam Abu Hanifa, whenever any fatwa came, any masail came, any situation arose, they had to give the fatwa on it. He would write to his 50 students, what is your opinion on this? And then he will read each one. At the end of that, he will give the fatwa on it. Today, we can just sit here and say anything and say, what did they do? He knew more than 500,000 hadiths, Imam Abu Hanifa. And as you go down, the other people knew more because then the other people got involved and they narrated from who they narrated from. And these different parts of matan and all these things were there. But anyhow, they knew, but they did not stop learning until they die, up till the day they die. That was the attitude of the ulama, and that should be the attitude of every Muslim. We are here for a test. We are here for learning. And for all of that needs the sabr at the individual level. And then there is one ayah in Surah Ma'idah. People who became Muslim, then as they purified themselves, then they got to the next stage. They said, what we ate, what we did before this, we didn't do zabiha, we didn't do all these things. What's going to happen? Allah answered to it, for a taqwa. لَيْسَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ جُنَاحٌ فِيمَا طُعِمُوا. There is no sin upon those people, whatever they ate, if they believe and did the righteous deeds. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue, وَإِذَا مَتَّقُوا وَآمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Then they got the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and believed and did the good deeds. So your level is not just stops that you believe and prayed. You more abide by Allah's laws. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues, ثُمَّ اتَّقَوْا. Then they did more taqwa. وَآمَنُوا ثُمَّ اتَّقَوْا وَأَحْسَنُوا. They did taqwa, then they did again taqwa with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَأَحْسَنُوا. They got to the stage of ahsan. Ihsan is the highest of the level of that. You do everything the best way you can do. If you read the best way. If you pray the best way. If you give the zakah, you give the zakah the best way. Hazrat Aisha radhiyallahu anha, when she used to give a zakah, she will perfume it. And say, I'm giving to Allah. So on the day of judgment, I don't want to be smelling, or I don't want to be having that. So I want to reward for that way. So they did ihsan. Whatever they did, whatever they performed, if they did hajj, if they did give the zakah, if they do the fasting, they did the best way, and that's called ihsan. And Allah said, وَآمَنُوا ثُمَّ اتَّقَوْا وَأَحْسَنُوا. They believed and did the taqwa, and they reached to the level of ihsan. وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Allah loves those people who are muhsin. When you talk about muhsin, that's above the taqwa, muttaqin. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, those are the people are the one which are required. It's also in Hadith of Jibreel, one of the hadiths, which is a long one in the books of the hadith, in which ihsan is considered to, when it was asked, what is ihsan? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that when you pray, well, okay. Anyhow, when you do, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said something, if you pray like Allah is, you're seeing Allah. And if you cannot see Allah, at least you should have thinking about Allah sees you. So that should be in mind. When you're praying, You are conversing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you're saying Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rahman Rahim, you're praising Him. Okay. Malik Yawmiddin, you're devoting everything that you are the owner of the day of judgment. Then we make a contract with Him. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'een. We worship you only and we seek help from you only. Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. That's where it really starts. You're asking for the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Sirat al-ladhina an'amta alayhim ghayri al-maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Those three ayahs. And there is a hadith about that. And it talks about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answers. If you're paying attention to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also answer to you whatever you're saying. And that should be the stage of that. Now coming back to after this sabr, the next word is wasabiru. Sabr is singular, sabiru is dual. It is on the isbiru, sabiru means that you have opponent. We are not living in the vacuum. Wherever we have our ideology, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have other people who will oppose us. And we have to do more sabr than them. In Surah Sa'ad, those kuffar telling to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to their people, just keep worshiping your gods and leave him alone and steadfast on your prayers and on your beliefs. So when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was there, you think kuffar said, well, okay, you brought one Allah, and so we are going to abandon these. They insisted on it. They came to the point at the end, after 13 years, they said, either we kill him, and they all wanted to join together in that. And that's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to do the hijrah from there. But sabiru comes at the level of jihad. Jahada is your striving. Jahidu, when you have opponent who is against you. Just like you do the jihad, you're doing fi sabilillah, for Allah's sake. But if you do fi sabil taghut, for the sake of taghut, for the shaitan, that's the other side. So jihad is not done individually on one-sided. It is both sides are doing. They have to be opposition to it. One time I was going to preaching in the jail, and the guard over there said, what do you think about jihad? I said, jihad is done on both sides, your side and our side. We have our ideology, we have our belief, and you have your belief. You insist on yours, we insist on ours. And that is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu isbiru wasabiru. Compete in that sabr. Compete in that perseverance. Don't give in. That's why Bilal radiallahu anh, he didn't give in. Whenever they punished him, they tried to do the things to him. When he couldn't say anything, he just raised his finger. Allah is one. This is mean one, and that's what you do one. So that's Allah is one. And the other word, he would say, ahadun, ahadun, ahadun. He didn't say Allahu ahadun. He says ahadun, one. And that infuriated his owners and all that. And that is sabiru, that you have to compete. Now, when we look, I talked to you about Surah Asr, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to advise each other about the sabr. Also in Surah Ayatul Bir, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about different category of sabr. وَالصَّابِرِينَ فِي الْبَاسَاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ وَحِينَ الْبَاسِ. Those people do sabr when hunger comes, when any harm comes, when battlefield comes. So now you got three different categories of sabr. And وَالصَّابِرُ عَلَى مَا أَصَابَكَ. It is told, يَا بُنَيَّ أَقِيمِ الصَّلَاةَ وَأْمُرْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَانْهَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ وَاصْبِرْ عَلَى مَا أَصَابَكَ. Luqman is telling to his son, Ya Bunayya, O my son, Aqim as-salah, establish the prayer, Wa'mur bil ma'ruf, preach for good, Wanha anil munkar, stop from the bad things. Wasbir ala ma asabik. Now do the sabr, whatever comes to you by preaching that. Because when you're going to preach, Luqman was wise. He was not a messenger. He was not a prophet. He was not a Rusul. But he is telling his son, and mostly people think he did when he was dying at the deathbed, when he was very sick. So he advised his son, O son, establish prayer. And preach good and forbid bad, munkar. Wasbir ala ma asabik. Whatever comes to you, then do the sabr from that. وَمَا يُلَقَّى إِلَّا اللَّهُ صَبَرُوا وَمَا يُلَقَّى إِلَّا ذُو حَظٍّ عَظِيمٍ. The greatness comes to people only by sabr. And this is the greatest of the reward. So sabr is everywhere required. It's not that you can do one time sabr and next time you can say whatever I want to do. You're going to need a sabr in the masjid, and you need at home, and you need at work, and you need everywhere. And you have to steadfast with your ideology. Now, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how he was advised. First, surahs which came, Mudassir and Muzammil. And if we look at them, Ya ayyuhal mudassir, kum fanzir, wa rabbaka fakabbir, wa siyabaka fatahir, wa rujza fahjur, wa la tamnun tastaksir, wa li rabbika fasbir. The seventh ayah on that was the wahi, second wahi to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Oh, who you wrapped up, get up and warn people. Make your Lord glad. And put your clean clothes. So here, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even he was clean to start with. Basiyabaka tahir, keep your clean clothes. Don't let the filth get on them. What is the fahjur? And stay away from all these idols. Wala tamnun tastaksir, and don't want more taksir, more this worldly things and all that. Wale rabbika fasbir, you have to do the sabr for your Lord. It is telling directly to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam individually at that time. Surah Noon. And Surah Noon also came early surahs, they say third surah, which came. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam started preaching, and he preached to the people, and they say, well, he was a nice person, he was good going, he was giving food to the poor, he was helping the other people, he was a nice guy, he didn't say nothing. But what happened to him since he started going to that cave and he's doing all this? And then they say, oh, some jinn must have got to him. Or he might have just because he stays in seclusion, so he must have got crazy. Now listen to those ayahs and says, Noon wal qalmi wa ma yastarun, ma anta bi ni'mati rabbika bi majnoon. The second ayah there is saying directly to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that by the blessing of your Lord, you have not gone majnoon, you have not gone crazy. Because these people are talking against him, talking about him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala consoling his prophet and messenger. Inna laka ajran ghayra mamnoon. You have great reward which will not break. Wa innaka ala khuluqin azim. You have the greatest of the character, best of the character. All the character, whatever Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, it finalized on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whatever he sees, whatever he's the best of the uswa. There's no better person, whatever he did in character-wise. That's the best of the character. فَسَتُبْصِرُوا وَيُبْصِرُونَ بَأَيِّكُمُ الْمَفْتُونُ. They will see, you will see, and they will see who has gone crazy, who has gone tested. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from the beginning. In the same surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala further down as he say, فَاصْبِرْ لِحُكْمِ رَبِّكَ. Have sabr by your Lord. وَلَا تُطِعْ مِنْهُمْ آثِمًا أَوْ كَفُورًا. Don't obey the one who is sinful and who do the kufr. Further down, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that don't be فَاصْبِرْ لِحُكْمِ رَبِّكَ وَلَا تَكُنْ كَصَاحِبِ الْحُوتِ. Have Allah's sabr by his Lord. Don't be like the Yunus alayhi salam, the person of the fish. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminding him from the beginning, don't be hurrying. Have Allah's sabr. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَاصْبِرْ كَمَا صَبْرَ أُولُو الْعَزْمِ الرُّسُلِ. Have patience, just like the greatest of the messengers have. So it is important. One thing, do our individual sabr, then also compete sabirun. Compete with other people in the sabr. Okay? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue in saying, warabitu, protect it, steadfast on it. Okay, rabitu is something also in Surah Taha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tell your family to pray. Fastabir alayhi, and steadfast on it. It's not that you come to the prayer. It is you also advise your own family for the prayer. And steadfast with it. Don't give in it. Because people are going to be lazy, people are going not to do. And when you do this, you're going to have a little hardship. And whenever you have that, then you're going to be saying that these people don't obey and all that. But your sabr is for Allah's sake. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues saying, وَاصْبِرْ عَلَى مَا يَقُولُونَ وَاهْجُرْهُمْ جَمِيلًا. When you do the sabr upon whatever they say, and we are going to face as a Muslim ummah wherever we are. We could be here, we could be back home, any place on the earth. Any place on the earth. We have to learn to do sabr. We cannot jump on all these things. We can strive to do things, but at the same time, we have to do the sabr. And not only do the sabr, وَاسْجُرْهُمْ sabran jamila. A jamila, nice sabr. One is, you are bound and you have difficulty, and you can say, well, I did sabr. But also, even if they curse you, you still be nice, talk to them nicely. Say to them nicely. Here, all the kuffar, including Abu Jahl, he comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam preach him, invite him to Islam. Actually, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to him and preached to him about Islam. And he says, don't come after this, and I don't want to see you no more. Don't be coming to me. So next day, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went back and said again, I invite you to Islam and all this. He said, didn't I tell you yesterday don't come? So what was the answer of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He said, yesterday was yesterday, today is today. I have to do work every day as long as I live. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not consider, well, I have done my job, so that's it. If they don't come, that's their problem. He never missed any opportunities. I was just reading one of the incidents. There is so much, his life is still hidden from us. And he goes to a valley. And the leader over there in the valley he's a wrestler. He preaches him about the Islam. And somehow he said, well, I'm a wrestler. If you can defeat me, then I'll accept Islam. He defeated him 3 times. And he accepted Islam. Normally, you would not think about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wrestling anybody. For Allah's sake, he did that. But these are his biography. There are so many things he did, so many other things they are written, and so many ulamas have written in different ways. Just imagine when Ahmad Didat was here, Allah give him Jannatul Firdaus, and he said over 60,000 books were written against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No other person has been written that many books against. And there are more books written in favor of him than that. So his personality is beyond our comprehension. We cannot understand. We cannot comprehend his personality, the way he was, and how he dealt with every person. And the language he spoke, which was taught by Jibreel alayhi salam. And they call it Loa of Nabi. It was the language of the Prophet. And sometime Abu Bakr Siddiq, Umar bin Khattab, he said, where did you learn this language? He says, Allah taught me through Jibreel alayhi salam. So his language, his sayings, Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu, he asked him a few things and he answered to them such a way. It was given to him. But sabr was also one part of that, was given to him. If people are blaming him, if they're blaming Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha, if they're blaming for anything, so many incidents took place. And he was preparing every day, every moment of the day, what the new problems are coming, what the consequences are, what he has to deal with. And he has to learn that sabr. وَاصْبِرْ عَلَىٰ مَا يَقُولُونَ وَاهْجُرْهُمْ هَجْرًا جَمِيلًا. Have sabr, whatever they say, and have sabr, jameel, nice sabr. Not only sabr. وَذَرْنِي وَالْمُكَذِّبِينَ أُولِي النَّعْمَةِ وَمَهِّلْهُمْ قَلِيلًا. This is Surah Muzammil, so where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling him, إِنَّا لَدَيْنَا أَنْكَالًا وَجَهِيمًا وَطَعَامًا ذَا غُصَّةٍ وَعَذَابًا أَلِيمًا. And in Surah Hijr it says, فَاسْفَى صَفْحًا جَمِيلًا. If you turn away from them, it should be a nice manner. If he met next day to his most opponent, we meet somebody we don't like, we don't have much care about, we will turn our face, we will not talk to them, we will make all kind of gestures. Not Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Next day, if he meets any one of them, he will still smile and he will still talk to them. And if they got sick, he went to go see them. And all of that, that's for sabr jamila. And then, فَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُذَكِّرْ لَسْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِمُسَيْطِرٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him in Surah Ghashiyah, remind them. You are a reminder. You are not appointed guard upon them. You cannot force them. You can just remind them. Guidance is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can remind people. We can tell people. But we cannot force people to do. فَذَكِّرْ إِنَّ نَفَعَتِ الذِّكْرَ سَيَذَكَّرُ مَنْ يَخْشَىٰ. Remind them, it will benefit to the people, the one who is benefiting. And he will be reminded who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sahaba, first 3 years of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Makkah, they just figured that, well, he's just gone crazy and he's just talking like this and that. We won't leave. But 4th year, they realized so many people had converted. So many people have come to Islam. So many people, it's changing. And that's called Ta'zibul Muslimin. The punishment to the Muslims started in the 4th year in Makkah. And that's where they start beating up and doing all kind of punishments to that. And these ayahs, which basically was talking about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I will talk about next time, and we'll talk about, the topic will be, the main theme will be sabr. But next time, we will talk about Surah Ankabut's first ruku, and if you want to prepare yourself, you can talk about it, but inshallah, Alif Lam Mim Ahasiba an-nasu an yutraku an yaqulu amanna wa hum la yuftanun. And we will start with that. The people have thought that they will be left by just saying we believe. They would not be tested. And you're going to be tested. So Allah guide me and guide you. And we go through these lessons and try to make up our mind and understanding of it.
How many meanings of Rabitu?
Rabata means is to,
How
huh?
many meanings comes?
There are so many meanings comes, but at the same time, it is to strengthen your heart, or strengthen yourself in that. That when you do some work, and if you don't have the willpower to come with that work, then you will lose it. So have your willpower on that, and that's Rabitu.
Above all, be strong.
Be strong and steadfast.
Steadfast, kaima.
Yeah, kaima, staying on that.
Kaima includes this
In sabr and rabitu, that means
does it include this kaima in Rabitu?
it will include in that kaimas. You have to steadfast on it. So whenever, if I'm looking at, like I said, on Surah Taha, there about the salah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala advised Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, okay, وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَاسْتَبِرْ عَلَيْهِ, okay, and steadfast with it. So you cannot just say, okay, well, I'm very sure about it, but at the same time, don't steadfast, because a lot of time people start doing something, okay, I'm going to read, every day 2 pages of the Quran, and third day I forget, and then week pass by and don't remember. So to steadfast on something constantly. The same thing with the salah. Okay, some people come to the Jama'ah, but then they say, okay, I'm going to pray every day, but then they forget about praying. But the ones who are really, Hazrat Umar radiallahu anh, he sends letters to his governors and say, see, whoever is protecting his salah, he's protecting his deen. Okay, it was so important to Umar radiallahu anh to check on the people and see if the people are steadfasting on it.
It means be firm and continue.
Continue to do.
Yes.
Yeah, continue.
Be very strong to continue.
Continue doing that. جزاكم الله خير. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم فقنا في الدين. اللهم اشف مرضانا. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتوب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. I think we can shut this thing off.
Thank you very much. So hopefully next week, if Allah wants, you will be here, we'll be here.
Huh?
Next week, if Allah wants,
Inshallah.
you will be
Inshallah.
here.
Inshallah.
Definitely,